Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Amateur Repair Time. We've been working for several weeks now on this Philco, I believe it's a 41602. So it's from 1941 that Craig sent me. This was his father Kermit's radio. And we've done a bunch of work on it and got it playing again and fixed up the cabinet a little bit. It's actually looking nice and presentable. But one thing that we haven't done yet is work on the phonograph. You know, that's kind of tough. If you don't work on the, well, if you're watching this video, you probably work on them too, but if you don't work on them, you may not realize. First of all, it's a 78 player, and it's the early 78 players. So there were two types, basically. There was one that played with basically a big steel needle that was good for the early 78s, which I guess were all mono. And then they made one for the micro groove 78s, to the best of my knowledge. At least that's how it works. And this is one of the early ones, 1941. That's a little whiles back, right? And we haven't tested any of that yet. Let's see if we can get this thing to work. See if we can get it. I mean, we won't get this to work, but let's see if we can get the radio to turn on. And we'll see if the phonograph is, I mean, if the cartridge is dead. Now, a lot of these originally had crystal cartridges. The crystal rots away inside of it and it stops working. So to find any kind of record player that had originally a crystal cartridge, it's hard to pull that off.
Per minute range. My question, you know, it's this scary, the having the disease.
Okay, so the way this thing is set up, if you, the volume is here, and then if you're in the middle, it's off. But if you go to the left, now you're on the phonograph. You can still hear the radio signal a little bit because of the way they amplified it. They ran the cartridge through the other side of the potentiometer, and the output out the middle of the potentiometer. So we're on the phonograph now. I don't have the motor hooked up, but oh, can you believe it? You just heard it, people. Can you believe it? When you pick up the arm, the tone arm, there's a switch here. Well, that sounds interesting. When you pick up the tone arm, there is a switch. The weight of the tone arm pushes in the switch. So when you pick up the tone arm, it connects power to the motor, which I have disconnected right now. And another thing is the tone arm hangs really weird. It's like, it's not flat. I guess that's just how they made it. But it sure sounded like that cartridge is working. Let me turn it back up. The freaking cartridge works. It must be a replacement. You hear that though, right? The cartridge works. That's unbelievable. I never would have thought that. So disregard everything I was saying about the cartridge not being any good. Somebody's probably replaced it. Let's look. Let's see if we can see. See if we can see what the hell's going on with this. So I don't know what in the world that is. Oh, maybe that's how you remove the needle. Yeah, I haven't looked at this needle much. That needle is bent all to hell. So see this dust and green and crap on the cartridge? Usually that destroys the cartridge, but this one appears to still be all right. So I would assume you pull out on that knob, maybe it screws out. Can you see threads down in there? If it would focus for us. So that must come out, and then the needle pops out. The problem with these old 78 players is that you have to change the needle before every record. That thing being bent like that, it shouldn't be like that. That's just been bent by being abused. I mean, that's not that's not how it's supposed to be. Let's see if we can see if there is a, I don't have the light right, but let's see if we can see if there's a thread there. So that green, usually that eats the cartridge up, but not in this case. Or maybe it's just grabbing, I don't know, I was touching the needle and it hummed. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, let me see if I can turn that by hand with both hands and see if I can get that old needle out of there. Yeah, I can't turn it. It's knurled though, like where, you know, where you can get a grip on it, but I can't get it to come loose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little oil on it and let it sit for a while. And then we'll come back to it after hopefully the oil's kind of penetrated in it. And then if I have to, I can turn it with a pair of pliers or something, but I hate to break that off. If I break that off, I won't be able to get that little piece out of there very easily. I would, you know, it's working. I would love to just take that out, put a new needle in it and roll with it, and then we can work on the motor. Yeah, we could take it out and look at it and everything, but a working a working cartridge in this old setup is not something that's easily replaceable. I thought we were going to have to do all kinds of crap to take the cartridge apart and everything else, but I think we might get lucky. Yeah, so let me soak it in some oil, and then we'll try to get that old needle out of there. All right, folks, so I have let it soak for like 2 days, and I can't get that thing to turn by hand. So I'm going to have to force it, and hopefully it won't break it. So I'm going to use some pliers, and I'm going to wrap this around the pliers so that hopefully it won't mar up that little thing. My understanding is that twists out, and then you put a new needle in and then twist it back in. That's how my phonograph, my old school from the 20s phonographs are. So hopefully I don't break the thing. I'll try not to force it, but I got to give it a little pressure. All right, it came right out. So I'm going to put a little more oil on it before I put it back in. And here is the needle. That does appear to just be a nail, you know, a phonograph nail or whatever. I don't know. It's awful flat. What's going on here? Is that supposed to be like that? I guess I should look this up and just see. You know, I use the one-use nails. I call them nails. They're not really nails, but I use the one-use ones where you change them after every record. They're not that expensive. They're really cheap. And I don't know that it's supposed to be bent like that, but it sure does look like it was manufactured that way because of that. See how it's flat right there? So this damn thing might be supposed to be like that. I don't know. What do you think? If I put a regular one in, it's going to go just straight. I wonder if it was some kind of like upgrade or something where they stopped using the ones that were just... But the problem is the tip of it gets all screwed up and it'll just eat your records up if you don't put a new one in there. Let me do a little research. I've looked at the manual or the little paperwork, you know, online about it. And they don't say anything about the needle or the cartridge. So I'll see if maybe I can, well, I don't know. Maybe I can find some more pictures of a similar model and see what they've got in theirs. I don't know. I guess worst case, we can just put the thing I'm talking about in there. All right, folks. So sometimes if you search around long enough, you find what you want to find. Look at this. Apparently, way back in the day, they marketed a needle that they called an arrow point coin machine needle. Longer life, the needle lasts longer, records last longer. Now look, it's that same freaking needle. See the little bend in it and everything? It's kind of interesting that they've moved it off center. Why did they do that? Did they think that that would kind of counterbalance the weight and make it a little lighter on the record or something? That's interesting. So basically this was marketed as a replacement for the standard steel needles that you just throw away. You're only supposed to play like one record with. So this thing, of course, is certainly worn out by now, but I was just wondering if that was a special needle for that Philco. It's not. It looks like if you went to the store to buy more needles, you could just pick this up at the same time and it supposedly would last longer. So they probably did that a long time ago. So I can get rid of that and just put regular needles in it. Now we know. Here's another one that Philco themselves actually marketed. It's a Philco Ruby needle. I think maybe it actually had a jewel on the tip of it or something. I don't think that's the one we've got though. Okay, so I've done some work on the back here. First, I put a connector on the antenna because they had it just soldered to the side here. And there was a problem where, if you watch the first video and the second video and the third video, this had been all ripped up and they had stapled this and broke wires and stuff. So I had to solder some stuff back together and all of that. And so I just poured glue all over this on a previous video to make it hard as a rock. And it's holding up really nice. So it's very solid. I like that. But the main problem is that every time or any time that you would have to remove the chassis, you had to unsolder those, and I think that had been part of the reason that it was all screwed up. These are obviously replacement wires at some point, right? So what I've done is I put a connector here so that it can easily be disconnected. Now, I've got two. So you run into the problem where you don't want to make it where people down the road 50 years from now plug the wrong ones in and blow something up. Right? So and even worse, these two wires are coming right off the AC inside the set because it's what powers the phonograph. So I need those and I need the antenna. Well, if you accidentally plug the two AC wires into the antenna is just a short, like a loop. You would be plugging both sides of the power together and blow something up. And if you accidentally plug the AC wires into the antenna wires into the radio, that probably wouldn't be good either. So you got it. Now, if you plug the motor that it doesn't have any power into the antenna that doesn't have any power, that wouldn't really be a problem. But so what I did was I put the two male plugs coming off the radio. So they can't be plugged into each other. So that gets rid of the instance where the power could be plugged into the antenna in the radio. But you can still plug this one into this one. So what I did was I reversed one of the pins inside so that it's keyed different. So like I put like the female pin in the male part and then the male pin in the female part so that it'll only plug in to this connector. It's keyed. If you try to plug it into this connector, it won't go. And, you know, they're the same exact color, so hopefully. But then again, over here, they're not the same exact color. One of the colors is different. Look, folks, it was the best I could do. All right, and this is the across the line cap. I figured I'd just put it out here since I could. So we had a little noise in the radio. People are telling me it's switching power supply noise. I'm not so sure about that, folks. I mean, what do I know? But I got some radios that it does it, some radios it doesn't. So it's hard for me to believe that there's something in my house making it do that. So if you turn off everything in the house, it still does it. I don't have hardly anything turned on right now. I got a few lights. If I turn off all the lights, it still does it. So then whenever you tell people that, they go, oh, it's your neighbor. Well, if it's my neighbor, then, you know, whatever. Why am I turning off my lights if it's the neighbor? I don't believe any of that. I think that can be a deal, but I don't think that's the deal with what we got going on. That's just my opinion, man. Okay, So I've got these. So now I need to have the balls to turn it on and see if I blow something up. Because the phonograph now, the motor now has power. And also we're doing the little trick thing with the the cap. Now, if you don't get why I put that out there, it's so I don't have to take the chassis all the way back out. On the previous one, we just didn't put this in. It's a safety cap too. You have to put a certain cap in. So where it was in the cabinet was right here. So it would be safer to mount it right from here to here so that it's switched off. Or else if you left this thing plugged in, that cap would always have power on it. If it ever shorted or something, big problems. But it's a safety cap, so it shouldn't short. So what I've done is, instead of moving it right here, I've just moved it right here, which is electrically the same thing, folks. It's the same thing. You know it's the same thing. It's just it's outside of the chassis. I mean, and you could argue, oh, if you touch it, you'll get zapped. Well, if you touch these wires, you could get zapped. Don't worry about getting zapped. It's going to be fine. Don't touch that motor. Don't touch nothing while it's plugged in. That's the obvious answer. I don't know why all y'all want to touch things when they're plugged in. I don't do that. Look back on my videos. I hardly ever touch the thing if it's plugged in. So I don't worry about an isolation transformer and all of that crap, because I'm not touching it when it's plugged in. It's a good way to get the hell shocked out of you. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it like this. Actually, we'll leave it like this and plug it in, and then see if anything explodes whenever I turn it on. All right, I plugged it in. Now I'm gonna turn the radio back on. Which, if the switch is bad, it would make the phonograph turntable immediately come on. I don't know if I've got it on the channel or not. You would think I would. But since I've got it backwards now, the reception, it might not be tuned in. Yeah, there we go.
Bonus episode where we answer the questions that are on your mind. Make sure to spend your Tuesdays and Thursdays with Trey. Subscribe now at foxnewspodcast.com or wherever you download podcasts. Hope to see you.
America is listening to Fox News.
Eric and Lyle Menendez's bid for shorter sentences and a shot at freedom is delayed again.
A hearing now set for May 9th, where the judge will consider the defense's motion to recuse L.A. County District Attorney Nathan Huckman from the case.
To violate what was...
Well, that across the line cap got rid of most of it, didn't it? Listen to the hum.
7 of the motion to recuse.
Defense Attorney Mark Garagos.
50622.
Okay. Yeah, we'll mess with that when we get it turned back around. Okay, so I'm going to turn it off, and then I'm going to turn it over to the phonograph side. All right, so that's the phonograph side. Now, I think on either side, all you're doing when you do that is, let me show you the schematics. So I have turned it from, we were just turning it on this side. Do I have that right? Yeah. So it's getting the out, I can't ever track this. So here's the grid connected to the center of the volume control, right? And if you look, the pickup connects to here. So we were up on this side. We have now turned it over to this side. Oh, okay, yeah, so here's what's going on. So this goes through the volume control and into the grid. Is that right? We're doing it properly? And now, since we've got it on this side, this goes in it and into the grid. Well, that can't be right because the signal wouldn't go through. Anyway, you get the whole point. I'm sure some of y'all can tell. We've got this, actually. No, it's got to be on that. Okay, so anyway, so that's how it works. It's a center tapped, two-sided volume control, basically. Boy, she's noisy as hell on the phonograph side, but I think I've got it way up. If you tune it into a channel, you can still hear the channel coming through. So whenever you play the phonograph, you might want to tune it off of a channel. Tune it to a quiet spot on the radio, and then play the phonograph, so you won't get all this crap. Hear that? So it's a very noisy design, but I do have it turned all the way up too. Okay, so let's turn it around and see if the switch works and the phonograph motor will turn. Okay, so we've got it turned over on the phonograph side. And when you lift this, it's going to lift off of that little platform there, and it should turn on the phonograph motor. I think the chances of that working are about 10%. That's what I think. But let's see. Oh, ye of little faith. Of course it's working. That's nuts. I can't believe that. That's going to be noisy as hell. Well, it's time for a record, folks. Let me go get a record that I definitely don't care about, and then we'll try it. All right, I'm almost afraid to try it. That needle, I mean, I put a brand new needle in it, but that cartridge is just almost impossible for me to believe that that thing still works. But let's see. Here we go. Boy, this is a weird tone arm, too. All that, I think the cartridge is dead. The humming is from where I was near the wires, I guess. I was touching the case of the cartridge, and that's connected to like one of the grounds. I mean, you can hear it, but I don't think it's amplified at all. It's pretty cool, though. Is it eating the record up? I think it's just cleaning the record for us. All right, so how are we going to fix it? Well, I'm going to take the cartridge out. I'm going to tear it apart and see if we can replace the inside of the cartridge with something that'll make noise. So just for giggles, I put the old needle in just to make sure it wasn't like a angle problem or something, but no, it's just... Cartridge is dead. It's baked. Okay, so after removing it, you can see the futility of even attempting to use that thing. There's no way that was going to work. Look at that. We had to try though, right? So one of these is... well, I don't know. I don't know if one of them's connected to ground or not, but the whole thing is, when I was touching this, it was humming. It wasn't that I was touching the needle. It was just when I was getting near it, it was... so I assumed that meant that it was reproducing the sound. It wasn't. It was just like a ground problem. So this sucker has seen better days. Part number, is that what that says? Part. Sometimes if I zoom in, I can see it better. Let's see. It's just so corroded, you can't tell. All right, so I'm going to attempt to use this. I don't know. So the whole deal is this is a crystal cartridge. So these put out like 3 volts or something like that. And so the set is designed around, it wants 3 volts to go into that volume pot. So what happens is if you put something in here that doesn't give you 3 volts, or if you put a cartridge in that doesn't give you 3 volts, if you can get it to mount, you know, it'll be so quiet that you can barely hear it. So it'll be probably a little better than it is now, because right now all we're hearing is needle noise. We're not hearing anything get amplified. Yeah. So you got to put something in here and then see if it's loud enough. And if it's not, you need to build a little preamp in the circuit to beef it up. So I think I'm going to try to put one of those Piezo reproducers in it. And then we'll see if that's loud enough that you can hear it. And if it's not, we'll see what we can do about making a little preamp circuit. But I think I can put it in this housing. I've seen some videos on YouTube of other people doing it. I think I can put it in this housing to replace what's in here. And we'll go from there. So first step is I need to drill out these 3 rivets that hold it together. This one, that one, and this one. And then that will get me into the thing. And we can take it all apart, clean it up, take all the junk out of the middle of it. All right, folks, we drilled the rivets out. I think so. So here's what's left of inside. Ooh. You think that was needed? Is that a necessary part? Okay, so here's the bottom. So I saw a video on YouTube where a gentleman fixed one of these the way that I'm going to do it. So this thing has rubber rings right there and right there that are all destroyed. And then it's grabbing a little something that connects to the actual crystal back here. And then these were embedded in the crystal. So that's what's left of the crystal. So that's why our cartridge doesn't work. Might have something to do with this being the connection. So, you know, it's kind of a bad connection. So that's what I was saying. The chances of it working are like 1 out of 100 or something like that. This ain't it. This is one of the 99. Wow, what a mess. All right, let me see if I can clean this up a little bit. See what's salvageable. Okay, so we drilled out the rivets, and this is what we came up with. I'm going to put these through my, what do you call it, ultrasonic cleaner, and clean it up. You see just how corroded it is. We saw that from the outside. So there's a little indentation in here that there was a little piece of rubber in that's like a damper, so that the crystal rested on it, but you can see the little indentation. The crystal rested on it, but it still had to, it was supposed to move a little bit. All right. And then here's the other side. Same thing. There was a little piece of rubber in there to kind of protect the crystal. Now remember, all of this stuff is 80 years old. 84 years old. And then this was in the back. These two little wires were attached to the crystal. The crystal had a little piece of cardboard or something wrapped around it, or a piece of rubber or something, that slid into there to hold it. And then this had little rubber rings right there and right there to separate it from the case. And it was like, I might have it upside down, but it was like that. So basically, you don't want this or this touching the frame. So we need to wrap this, we need to clean all this up. We need to wrap this in rubber and wrap this in rubber so that it is suspended and not touching either side. Boy, that's awful tight, though. It's going to be hard for that. Yeah, I guess if you just get it just right, it won't touch either side there. And then on the top, or which is actually the bottom, that doesn't actually touch it. So same thing, we gotta get the rubber where it's just in there just right. And then back here, I'm gonna put some rubber there. No, not rubber. Well, it's a vibration thing, so I guess it could be rubber. We're going to connect it to one of these piezo elements. Now, I took one and busted it all up to show you. You got to be kind of careful with them. But all these are is it's one piece and then a second piece. And the wire is soldered. If you look at the new one, the wire is soldered to that. So it's kind of the same thing. It's just a different, the crystal worked better than this probably will. The crystal is probably going to put out more voltage and be louder. This probably isn't going to be as loud, but we'll mess with it and see. And also, since we've got so much upside on the volume on that record player and just the way the circuit's designed, I think it might be all right. We may not need a preamp. I don't know, but we'll try it. So next up, I got to clean this, get it looking a lot better. And then I've got some butyl tape here. I'm wondering if, my buddy Dennis gave me this. It's pretty thin though, but I wonder if this would be good. I've got some thicker stuff somewhere too. But I wonder if this would be good to cut into strips and to create those little rubber things. I'm reading online where people have been doing it. Of course, I didn't come up with this idea. But other people are saying that you don't want to use rubber bands because the rubber dries after a while and just screws you all up. But this butyl works pretty good, they said, but this is thinner. So they like using stuff like a silicone glove or something. I think I'm going to see, because this stuff has adhesive on it too. So I think I'm going to see if I can just cut this. I don't know, though. It might not work because I don't know that I can get this backing off. I'll mess with it. If I don't use this, I might have some other stuff I can use. I've got this Gorilla Glue tape, too. But I think that's too thick. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe that'd be better. What do you think? You can't really tell, can you? Maybe this would be better. Just one revolution of that. Yeah, maybe that would work. All right, so that, and then we're going to have to get it to grab the piezo tweeter after we cut it. I won't use this one, it's screwed up obviously, but we'll cut part of it. Maybe this way. And then make it the size to go in there and leave room to solder the connections to the wires and blah, blah, blah. But next step is I need to try to clean all this stuff up. Okay, so here's how it ended up after going through the ultrasonic cleaner. You saw it was in pretty rough shape, and the cleaner, I don't know if I left it in there too long or what, but it took all the plating off. So now we just have, it's copper, I guess. Sure looks like penny copper to me. But it's pretty clean, which is all I really was going for. The residue of all the old rubber's gone. I think we're going to have to drill that rivet completely out. So it's all pretty clean now. Not perfect, but hey, it's 80 years old. I think we can roll with it. And the screw isn't stuck anymore. It now easily removes. And it cleaned up our posts, which is good. So we're going to roll with that. It's probably as good as I can get it. All right, so I think next we'll see, originally that rivet didn't go all the way through. You could just use tape to hold it together whenever you put it back together. But I think because of the way this mounts, the wires go around it, around that post. So I think as long as I don't run that whatever, the piezo switch or reed switch, whatever, piezo sensor all the way back, and I've got new wires that run around it and don't touch that, I think we'll be fine to, I mean, it's going to be there anyway, but I'm going to try to drill a hole straight through it so that we can try to put a rivet in it whenever we're done, after we test it a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and then we need to wrap a little bit of something around these two little bushings here to put it in there. All right, so I used a little bit of this, but it was too thick, so I stretched it a little bit. And then I used some of this butyl tape, and that worked too, but it's too thin, so I had to go around several times, and it's kind of, you know, butyl is a big mess. So, if you check, I'm trying to make it where the pickup is isolated from the cartridge. So we got, you know, from that we have connectivity, but if you try to connect to from the body to the pickup, it is not connected. So that's how you want it. So we've got it suspended in there with little pieces of rubber, basically. So let me open it back up, and now we have to cut the piezo. Okay, so I have cut the little piezo thing down. I just cut it on the end that's got the wires facing back, right? And then I took a little bit of my Gorilla Tape and wrapped it around the end, and that was thick enough for it to kind of, this thing to kind of pinch it. It's holding it really good. And then I soldered it to the little pins on the back. Nothing's touching metal anywhere. I guess I need to watch that one to make sure. I put a little piece of rubber underneath the piezo, and people, if I'm not pronouncing it right, I'm never going to pronounce it right. You can tell me how it's pronounced all you want. I'm still not going to do it right. I put a little piece of rubber under that so that it can't touch the body. And then I've got one in here as well. And that originally it had that, you know. But these are just all dried out. So rubber tape, butyl tape, which actually kind of made a mess, but that's all right. Rubber, piezo cut down real small, 2 wires soldered to the connectors, rubber under it, and rubber on top of it. So I'm going to put it all back together, and then I'm going to check both of these pins to see if either one of them is connected to the case, and I'm going to check this to make sure it's still isolated from the case. And then if that's fine, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some tape around it just to hold it together. We'll mount it back in the record player and see if it works. And if it works, we'll leave it. I've heard you can make this, the bigger you make this, the more volume you get out of it. I don't know. I've read some people have luck with it, some people don't. I think if you're using it in one of those like one tube wonders, it doesn't work. But I think if you're using it in a radio phonograph, I think it very well may work, because the radio, has a pretty healthy amp built into it. That's my theory, at least. So we'll see. So I'm gonna put it back together, and next step, we'll try it in the phonograph. All right, so we're just getting a humming sound. If I check the continuity, I've unwrapped all this. If I check the continuity between the two wires of the pickup, though, they're shorted. And it's because the wire is deteriorated and the ground wire is touching the signal wire right here at the end of the plug. So I'm going to clean all this up, get this dressed, and then wrap the ground back around and solder it to the side. And hopefully that will keep those two separate, and then we'll be good to go. Okay, folks, so I removed the whole tone arm, and I replaced the pickup wire with some speaker wire. If like an RCA cable or something might be better, because it would be more shielded. I don't even know if that's shielded at all, but this thing's going to be so noisy. The idler wheel's all screwed up and everything. If we get it to work, it's going to be so noisy it won't even matter. So I was able to reuse the end that goes in there, and then I was able to resolder the two pieces that go on the cartridge. There is a plastic or rubber something, I don't know what this was, maybe felt or something. There was a round bushing that mounts under the tone arm where it meets the wood, and then there's another one on the top that mounts above the tone arm where it meets the wood. And there's a rubber bushing around that too. All of that fell apart. The rubber bushing was all right, but the rest of it, you can see the pieces of it laying there. But it's mounted back in there nice and firm. That's probably another noise thing, so it's probably going to make it even noisier. But, we're not really, or I'm not really going for high fidelity on this, and we're learning. So if we are able to rebuild this tone arm, or this cartridge, on the next one, maybe I can do it a little better. On the next one, maybe I can do it a little better. On the next one, maybe I can do it a little better. I've been wanting to try one of these for a while. You can put a ceramic, more modern cartridge in it, but the problem is the tone arm is it weighs a ton on these. So those things want like 4 grams tracking pressure or something. This thing's like half a pound or something. I mean, it's heavy, really heavy on that. And it's using a steel needle, so it's just, that's how they were designed. So anyway, let's put it back together, and let's see if the thing works. Hopefully that cartridge will get some tone out of it. All right, folks, so I have turned it on. A little bit of a hum. Let's see if it wants to cooperate. Come on, baby. I'm trying to help you now. Come on now. Boy, that thing's moving fast, isn't it? That's not real loud, but
we would have those same old fights to go through. And I'd much rather be dead than to hear those words you said. I'll forgive you, but what good will it?
So that's all it's got.
I still love you,
but it's definitely amplifying it. So if you've got an old one of these heavy arm 78 players, you can rebuild your cartridge like that, and it's pretty inexpensive. I mean, I spent about $3. I wonder if this is going to be copyright stricken and I have to redo this whole thing.
I'll come back, dear, but what good will it do?
1941 Philco.
Take you long to be untrue. That would mean another fight on and on into the night. I'll come back, but what good will it do? I could blame you, but what good?
Fantastic. I love it. Let's see. I think we're still on that other channel too. Let me go off that channel and see if that changes the volume.
We are born a certain way, dear, and that's
No.
the way we say. I could blame you, but what good will it do?
Doesn't seem like there's any crosstalk between the radio and it. Matter of fact, when I was hearing that before, I wonder if that might have been because the the pickup was grounded to itself. Interesting. Let's see what this record is. Let's see if it's going to get me. I don't want to say their name. I don't know. It might copyright strike me. We'll see. Really, you should change the needle after every record. But we're testing this older beat-up record, folks. A cleaner record, I think, would probably sound even better. And I think if we isolated the tone arm a little better with the rubber mounts, you'd get rid of some of that noise. A new idler wheel would get rid of the turntable noise. So there you go, folks. Let me know what you think. Hope you enjoyed it. Craig, thank you for sending me this, buddy. It was a pleasure to work on it. I'll take care of it. See y'all on the next video. Now, if you like watching these old radios and record players, check out this video.